Guess what I just saw? Hello everyone! I just came back from seeing Godzilla Minus One in the theater, and I couldn't wait to sit down and tell you some things about it. I don't want to say too much because I think it's really best if you go in knowing as little as possible. That's what I tried to do. I avoided articles and information and reviews as best I could. There are certain things I couldn't help seeing, but all I knew was that people were saying, this is really good. I did see the trailers and the teaser, but I only watched them once, maybe twice, and then I was like, okay, I don't want to see anything else. So that's how I went into it, and it was great. For those of you who don't know, Godzilla Minus One is the first Toho Godzilla film since 2016's Shin Godzilla. They let Warner Brothers and Legendary have the rights to Godzilla for a few years and make those MonsterVerse movies, and then they reclaimed the rights, and we're like, okay, you guys had your fun, now we're gonna make a Godzilla movie, and boy, did they. I don't know how long this US theatrical run will be. I think it's a limited release, so if you have any interest in seeing it at all, I say go, and go as soon as possible. It is everything I think a Godzilla fan hoped it would be, and then some. I've got several pages of notes that I scribbled in the car afterward, and I am going to go through them, but I don't want to say too much and give anything away for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but I do also want to talk about some things in as spoiler-free a way as possible. So, if you don't want to hear anything, I would say just end this video now. Well, I will say my biggest takeaway, and this is a very great compliment, I think, for the movie, is that this is a Godzilla movie that strikes the perfect balance. It is a great Godzilla movie. It has amazing action and awe-inspiring visuals and epic destruction scenes, yet it also does a great job with the elusive human element. I have seen so many Godzilla movies where it's like, okay, well, the monster stuff was great, but didn't really care about the characters. The story was weak. That is not the case here. This is a serious movie. It's solemn. It's dramatic. It's genuine. It's heartfelt. It's touching. But it's also a great Godzilla movie. So that is, I guess, my review in a nutshell. If that's all you want to hear from me, that's fine. Thanks so much for watching. Bye! Go watch the movie. Now I am going to dive into my notes, and I'm going to go through this as quickly as possible because I actually skipped lunch to go see this movie, and I am very hungry now. But I want to do this while it's all fresh in my head and I am still amped up. I was talking about the human element, so I will start there, and I promise I'm not going to give anything away. I'm not going to spoil anything in this video, but I am going to talk a little bit more about certain things than you might want to hear. So this is your last warning. If you don't want to know anything about this movie, leave now! So it's got a strong protagonist in this character, Koichi, who is a kamikaze pilot who survives the war, which is something you're not supposed to do if you're a kamikaze pilot. It's a shameful thing. And so he is carrying this burden, and he ends up in this situation with a woman and a baby, and you just feel for this guy so intently as one thing after another happens to him, and he's just floundering, really. And I really enjoyed how his character was developed, and the relationships with other characters were developed. The secondary characters were enjoyable, they were entertaining. I'm talking mainly about the crew of the boat. The captain looked awfully familiar, and I feel like I've seen him in another Godzilla movie, but I can't put my finger on it. The story is emotional, it's a story that matters, it's well developed. It hit me in the feels. I don't know if people are still saying that, but there were a couple points here where I felt emotional, and I heard a few other people in the theater sniffling, and I was like, it's not just me. And it's something new because of its setting. This movie has an earlier setting than we've ever seen in a Godzilla movie before. It's set primarily in 1947, but it does start at the end of the war in 1945, and it goes into post-war hardships and the citizens' frustrations with the state of things and having lost their homes and their livelihoods, and there's survivor's guilt, and there's the struggle to rebuild their homes and rebuild the cities and get work, and just start life over after years of war and fighting. When I heard it was going to have a post-war setting in the 1940s, I wasn't entirely sold on it. I hoped it would be good, but I wasn't sure how it would be. I wasn't sure what they would do with that, and what sort of tone the film would have, but it really worked very well. So much depended on the execution, and I think they nailed it. And another thing that has to be considered is the fact that they were fighting Godzilla with 1940s weaponry. They've got ships and boats and planes and artillery, and it's all very period specific, and you feel like they're going up against Godzilla. How could they possibly win? The design of Godzilla is great. He's got this gnarly look. The spikes, or the spines, still not sure what I'm supposed to call those. They are... I think that's the most impressive thing about him here. They are so pointy. They look so sharp and so just menacing and dangerous. Toho brings back scary Godzilla. There is rage in those eyes and in his movements. I felt like they worked on size and proportions. I feel like they took criticism of the MonsterVerse Godzilla and past Goji suits into consideration when it came to designing the feet and the legs and the hands and the head, all of it. The atomic breath is nicely done. I feel like they might have taken a page from the MonsterVerse here, where it builds up slowly from the tip of the tail to the top. That might have been in a Toho film, and I just don't remember. But regardless of whose idea it was first, I think it adds suspense, and it looks great, and it's thrilling to watch. And then they changed or added a couple things with the atomic breath, which they call a heat ray in this film. Well, I won't go into all of that, but my favorite thing that they added was that it results in a nuclear detonation. He zorches something, and there's a mushroom cloud. And that is something I have always wondered about. I've always felt like, well, if it's atomic breath, how come when he uses it, it doesn't look like an atomic bomb has gone off? And I feel like, yes, finally somebody did the thing that I've always wanted to see. I don't know if it makes sense scientifically, but I don't care. Also, and this is a thing that happens very early on in the movie, Godzilla bites people. It's rated PG-13 for a reason. Not that it's super graphic or gross or anything like that, but he chomps on a guy's head. And then he does it again. And then again. And it was like, whoa! The music. There's original music here, nothing ostentatious, but it is very appropriate for the action and the drama, and that was good. But then, yeah! There were probably 15 to 20 people in my theater, and I think if you were down in front and looking at the crowd, you would be able to tell who the real Godzilla fans were, because at a certain point in the movie, we were the ones who were like... I know my face split into a huge grin, and I was with my dad, and I turned and looked at him, and I was like... and he started laughing at me. So that was awesome. So I guess I am giving that away. There is Akira Ifukube music in this. It is used sparingly, but so well. Both of Godzilla's themes appear, and the timing is perfect. There are also other recognizable themes if you are a big fan of the music. There was one theme that I couldn't place it, and that it threatened to drive me crazy, but I just had to let it go. And then they used the theme from King Kong vs. Godzilla, and that was so exciting. I don't know how many people in the theater recognized that, but I was sitting in my seat just like trying not to explode. By the way, this was my first time seeing the Toho logo on the big screen. That was exciting. This is also my first time seeing a foreign movie in the theater, I think. So that's a milestone. And I'm really pleased that it was a Godzilla movie. So it had brilliant use of music and of silence. This movie is not afraid to have quiet moments and to let characters take time to feel things and process things and talk to each other. The characters were well developed. The acting was great. There was not one performance that was sour. I do have one infinitesimal criticism, and that is that there were a couple lines that were translated anachronistically. There were a couple words and phrases that popped up in the subtitles that I thought, nobody was saying that in 1947. Nobody in Japan and nobody in the United States. It didn't take me out of the movie, but it did make me raise an eyebrow for a split second, and I just feel like, why did you have to do that? The dialogue is fine. You don't have to make a woman in 1945 say what? It just is weird. But this is one little thing. A couple lines in contemporary vernacular. It was not a big deal. If I can say one more thing in this movie's favor, it's that even my dad liked it. And that's huge, because my dad does not like Godzilla movies. He doesn't like monster movies. He doesn't like science fiction. He is not into this thing. He has come along with me to see the MonsterVerse films because he's a good sport and a great dad, and I didn't want to go by myself, and so he went along with me and sat through those movies, even though he didn't really enjoy them. But this, he genuinely liked, even though it was all in Japanese with subtitles, which he did not know going into it. That was the first thing he said when we were walking out of the theater. He was like, "So, did you know that all of the dialogue was going to be in Japanese?" I was like, "Yeah, didn't you?" And he said, "No. Did you purposely forget to tell me that?" So not only did I thoroughly enjoy the movie, it also got my dad's stamp of approval. And with that, I don't think you really need to listen to any other reviews. If Dad likes it, then it must be a great movie. Alright, those are my first impressions of Godzilla -1. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy the film if you go to see it. If you have already seen it, or if you go watch it after you see this video, I would love to hear your thoughts on it, so please go ahead and share those in the comments below. Just try to keep it spoiler-free for everybody else. I'll be back sometime next week with what else I saw in November. The video's filmed. I'm halfway through editing it, but I gotta work on this instead, so I'm not sure when I will put that video out. Maybe I'll just do it next Saturday. I don't know. But this video could not wait. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on the movie, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.